That explains why it was giving me errors. So in like 12 or 13 seconds, maybe you'll get audio. That explains why it was giving me errors. Errors. So in like 12 or 13 seconds, maybe you'll get audio.
So there's no humming, but you don't have everything hooked up. I muted you. You don't have everything hooked up. Do I trust this Zeus to hold my phone?
So did I?
Perfect.
Okay.
You need to buy me one of these scanner holders for my phone, and then I can charge it right here.
If you get the new iPhone Max, it'll be about the same size. So I need to go here.
I need to plan out my videos for this week. Bins haul, bins challenge haul with you. Hook try on with that. Garage sale thrift store? What do I buy at garage sales? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I need one more video for Thursday. Maybe the UGG shoe cleaning video. My shirt looks funny.
Do I have Slack on here? I thought I had it already. Oh, it's on my laptop. So it'll take just a second here. We'll wait until some more of the group. I think we're live.
But
You
just
guys,
within the group, correct?
yeah, it should be an unlisted live stream. We have Kuba in here. Let me share this also to Slack via my phone and make sure that Cody gets in here and maybe PJ as well. And we'll cover, I'll cover like a basic setup for this and then what I'm doing for my live stream. And hopefully there's no audio buzzing this time. I didn't hear it through our headphones. Mike's here as well. And then I don't know what the deal with the audio was last time. I did have some cabling from my cameras going over power extension cords, so that could have been causing it. And also my audio preamp was connected to a USB hub, and that could have been causing issues as well. It was a powered hub, but that's the same one I was using when I did the last live stream, and it was causing interference with the Pico scope. So I'm betting that that USB hub is kind of a piece of junk. So we'll see if PJ and Cody join in here, because I know that both of them were interested as well.
Thanks.
We're very tired. Doing what we do? Cleaned up around the house today. Drove a little bit. Tried to find materials for working on the house and was unsuccessful. I think we didn't even stay down here that late last night.
No, it was early.
About 8 o'clock or so. So the the two guys that were wanting to watch it aren't in here yet. Yes, we will be at Super Saturday. Oh well,
I'm not going to actual Super Saturday.
she won't be at Super Saturday, but she's going with me. We got our plane tickets already. I forgot to, or I've procrastinated about setting up the hotel room and rental car.
Bella, come here.
And my dog's trying to attack one of my employees.
Bella, come here. Bella, come here. Good girl. Who is that?
So I don't really want to start until PJ is in here, but he may be he may be tied up with the family. Unfortunately, I don't have merch yet. That's something else that's on my list, and it might be too late already.
There's the cricket. Should I kick it outside?
It's going. Shoot, the dog's watching. So the cricket that was chirping in the last live stream, my dog is playing with it or staring at it. So hopefully it leaves the building.
There's another one in here too.
Okay. We'll just go ahead and start. I guess if they want to watch it, they can. I'll post a link up later, and they can watch it. So this is a little overkill of a live stream setup. Come prepared with a Sharpie. I don't know if anyone's going to be asking for my autograph. Maybe hers. I think Mike said the other day that one of the head guys from his boss's management
Sorry, I keep kicking it.
shop management group is coming down and wants his Matco hat signed. So, see you later. Okay, so my live stream setup here, I showed it real quick at the end of the live stream last time, is a desktop computer because I ran out of inputs and I wanted more inputs available when I live stream last weekend. So we brought the desktop down this time. In order to prepare, I wanted more inputs. So this is the HD60 Pro from Elgato. It is a PCI Express card. I believe you can do it on a one channel PCI Express, but they recommend a 4-channel or a 4-lane. My motherboard had 2 extra slots. I plugged in 2 of them, so I have 2 of these cards in my PC. They were kind of a pain to set up. You really have to install the software and the drivers and everything first, and then you have to install the card, and then you have to restart the computer several times before it starts working. Once I got the first one to start working, I plugged in the second one, and I had to restart 2 more times, and then it started working fine. So they're not super convenient. The other one, let me grab it here. I'm not sure what this one's even hooked up to. Employees, I don't know if you guys can hear him peeling off out of here. Let me switch this over to another view. Sorry, we're going to go kind of all over the place. So this is another interface. This is the Elgato HD60S.
You want me to zoom?
If you want, you can zoom in on it. I was trying to get the other camera, but they're flip-flopped on me. You might have to half press the shutter button and it'll focus. Okay, so this is the HD60S. It is USB. I have it plugged into a USB-C port, but I think it does require USB 3.0. So if you don't have USB 3 on your computer, then these are not going to work. The other one is the Elgato Cam Link, and you can zoom that back out. And I'll switch this again.
And what does that part do?
This is just another interface for the cameras or scanners.
Meaning?
I can plug this cable right here is a HDMI cable coming from one of the cameras.
And you need that to hook your cameras up to it.
Yes. So HDMI cable input coming out of my camera, and I may grab one of the cameras off of there and show you guys that.
Can you grab it? This one?
I don't know if she's chasing a cat or something. That one has the power cord tethered.
Ow.
So can you point that one over here, and I will switch to it. So on this camera, I just have this HDMI adapter. It has a HDMI mini A and a mini B, and then it goes to a regular HDMI cable. So that is running into one of the inputs. I think that's going into this HD60S that I pointed out earlier. And all of this stuff is used by video gamers that do live streaming. So like this one here has the input, but then on the other side it also has an output. So like if I was wanting to capture PlayStation, for example, then I could still run it into my television. I use their devices because they're fairly inexpensive compared to some of the alternatives, but they are still kind of pricey. And then the other thing you have to make sure is, for one, if you're plugged in
Up a little.
to a HDMI cable, that the camera will stay turned on. This one I'm running on a battery, but my other Panasonic Lumix, I have a constant power adapter. And we were having trouble getting the audio feed from this camera, but I didn't worry about it too much because we had other audio feeds, and I didn't want the echo like we had at the beginning. So this one I have it set up to not display any of the icons that are around my screen onto the stream, because what you guys are seeing is actually the footage from another camera identical to this. And then some cameras don't have a live output. There will always be stuff on the screen, and some of them have an issue with overheating if they're on for too long. But I've done 2 or 3 hours straight with these cameras, the Panasonic Lumix, and this is the G7, without any issues at all. And I think these were on sale, I don't know if they still are, for around $500. And if you want to shine onto this box here, our audio, the first live stream I was pulling it just from the camera mic because I didn't have enough inputs to run this setup. And then I ran into issues with this one because it has 2 inputs, and unfortunately channel 1 was going to left and 2 was going to right, so some people are having a hard time hearing us. Sorry, my dog's barking at customers now. She thinks she has to guard the shop when it's after hours. But
No complaints for me.
we may have to shut the doors. But I did figure out in the software how to convert this to a mono channel so we won't have that issue again. And I really think that the buzzing was coming from this device plugged into the USB hub.
Now, do you have to have one of those?
A USB hub or this device?
That device.
You don't. You can run the onboard audio from the camera, and that's what we did in the last one, and it worked fine. I was just hoping to be able to move around and have the audio on my chest with a wireless device so that I could move freely and everyone could still hear me without me yelling at the camera. Yes, I was using the wireless Rode. This one's the wireless Go, and then I have a lavalier mic plugged into it because it has just the little box, and it has a microphone built into it. But I didn't want this big thing clipped to my chest. If I had a shirt pocket, I could have stuck that in there and it would have been just fine. But I prefer the lavalier mic instead. Okay, and then this is a setup I have from home, and all of this stuff is kind of like way overkill. This is the setup that we built for home streaming video games and for me to do my voiceovers. I used to use the Yeti, the Blue Yeti USB microphone, and that worked fine for my voiceovers. But being a gear junkie or geek, I slowly started accumulating more gear. So like this microphone, it has a built-in pop filter. A lot of people like it for voiceover, so that's why I picked it up. But it does require phantom power, and that's why I have to have the other audio interface. So the phantom power applies 48 volts to the microphone in order for the electronics inside here to power up and function. And then, so like the simplest setup that you could do would be with a laptop, because a laptop, let me switch inputs again.
I'll switch to the laptop. Or not the laptop, sorry, the web.
Yeah. Oh, which that's not the right one. Neither is that one. But let me show you this one. This is the webcam I have just sitting on top of my computer plugged in with a USB cable. If you wanted to use a computer and a webcam, that's fine. They're all USB. You don't need a lot of quality when it's zoomed in on your face, especially because normally you have picture in picture and your face is pretty small on the screen. So the built-in camera on a laptop works perfect for that. And then during the first live stream, like I could have got by with just the built-in webcam and then one HDMI capture card, either the Elgato Cam Link, which is designed only for camera inputs. Basically, it did distort my footage from my camera, and it took me forever to figure out how to stretch it to the screen. Now that I know how to do that, it's not an issue. But it was trying to display it in like a super long skinny format, and it wouldn't work. So with one capture card and the built-in webcam, you could have really everything you need for a basic live stream setup. And if I switch over to this other screen, then you guys can see the Streamlabs software that we use for the setup. So this is basically trying to think if this is what we normally have it on. Once you go live in the setup, this is what you see. It's doing some weird stuff here because I'm running picture in picture. But actually, if I click on
picture in picture in
picture. So it's showing you my display plus another smaller version of my display and another smaller version. But over here on the left are the different scenes that I have set up. And I'm going to actually switch to the creation panel where I do all this stuff. I normally don't even use this anymore because YouTube has changed the way that their side of it works. The software is called Streamlabs OBS. There is another version called just OBS, and that was the original, and it's an open source software. The company Streamlabs made some tweaks to it to make it more pleasant to use. The original one is a little rougher. So this is where I build all of the scenes for what I have. So I just have stuff labeled left Lumix, right Lumix, scanner only, laptop only. And I changed it in here a little bit because the laptop was running through an HDMI cable into another capture card. That way I was running separate stuff. But when I was doing the stream last weekend, I was running the Picoscope on my laptop. I was capturing the Picoscope window only because it wouldn't let me do the display capture. If you can capture the whole display, then I could have done like the overlay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I add different devices. So like right here, that's kind of a weird view from this camera over here. And if I want to add the webcam, which I have mounted on top of my monitor, I can just click plus. It's going to video capture device, add source. If it's not listed in here, then you have to add a new source, and then you give it a name, and it'll give you an option of whatever's plugged in. But since I have this on another scene already, it gives me a quick preview of it, and I can add that source to the screen, and then I can position it wherever I need to. So there's a lot of tweaking, and what I did is I built one channel with all of my sources, and then I just duplicated a bunch of times, and then I just muted the video sources that I didn't need. I click through these, but then you won't be able to see what it is, but they're all the same. I just have different ones visible and not visible. So that's the basics of the Streamlab setup. Over here are all the different audio sources. I have almost everything muted except for the microphone input that I'm using now, because before, when I had the Lumix on here, which I can turn it up and it'll probably start reading, now you guys are probably getting the echo that we had at the beginning of the live stream before. I didn't realize that I had left this one turned up, so I could just hit the mute button, or I just turned it down. And then the right Lumix, I don't know if the audio, yeah, there's something going on with that one. I may have to check that camera because it's not picking up any audio at all. And that's their flip-flop, so that's actually the new camera that I got from my dad. Oh, it's probably not too bad right now when I had that one turned on because it's so close to me. Before, I had my lavalier mic turned up, and then I was like 4 or 5 feet away from the other one, so it was probably causing that delay and putting the echo in there. And what I found on the audio sources, which is kind of weird on the mixer, if I mute this in this window and switch to any other scene, then it's going to mute it in that scene as well. I think. I can't remember, but I just like, that's why I ended up putting all of the different sources in here and just making them non-visible. That way I would have the option for all audio sources here, because we did a live stream once where if we had a certain camera turned on, we lost audio. And we ended up having to run just on one camera. We might have had the Nikon hooked up that time testing it out, but it was one of the early live streams we did, and Keith said, he's like, you got no audio. And we've run into that issue several times. We start up the whole stream and have no audio broadcasting. I'm going to drag over my YouTube window and show you the setup from that. And I think we counted a little bit ago, and there's about a 13-second delay from when I talk to you guys that it actually shows up on our cell phones for the YouTube broadcast. It might be longer for you guys being on the East Coast, but it shouldn't be too much longer.
That time it was 8 seconds.
8 seconds. So hopefully, and we can watch Valerie's. Okay, let me make some adjustments because we're streaming over. I gotta put the desktop on top here and then bring this back in. So you have to have both of these programs running at once. You have to have a web browser open with YouTube. And then
Streamlabs is free, right?
Streamlabs is free. I don't believe I paid for anything. You can pay for add-ons. They have different, what's really nice is they have a bunch of prepackaged themes for video gamers. So you can always tweak those, and it gets you kind of started on your scenes, and it has overlays. You can build your own overlays if you want. And then they have like face masks. If someone donates or types a certain thing, it'll detect your face, I guess, and put like an emoji over your face or something.
You know they can't see you, right? You're talking a lot with your hands.
Yeah, I'm talking a lot with my hands, but you can do that. Okay, let me cover this window here. So over here we have the chat. Now this quit working about an hour into the live stream. I'm not sure why, but it just said I can't remember what it said. They said something, an error happened, and the chat quit.
Yeah, but luckily I had my phone open so I could still read the chat.
Yeah, I think what I could have done is I could have gone back and then opened up the live stream again. It says I have an excellent connection here. These are all the settings. You have to copy some of these settings in, like the stream key, over to Streamlabs before you go live. And it never used to be this way until YouTube changed a few things. But what I found is I have to copy this over every time I go live. It used to be you just logged into Streamlabs with your YouTube account and it would automatically pull the information. And then we also had an issue where a window would pop up every time we wanted to go live. I'm still talking with my hands. A window would pop up on Streamlabs every time we wanted to go live, and it would have me enter the title and description. And what that would do, it was overwriting everything that I had on YouTube. So that was kind of inconvenient, especially because, like, if I click this edit button here, we're actually unlisted, so this video isn't open to the public. Well, Streamlabs was overwriting that and making my stuff go public, even though I didn't want to.
But we gave him a good show.
We gave him a good show, and I quickly went and changed it. But Keith already grabbed some screenshots of of Valerie, shaking her fist at the camera and what were you doing? Oh, you're Scotty Kilmer.
I was doing my Scotty.
But so that's kind of embarrassing when you want to test out features and it makes you go live. So I've considered making a second channel just as a test channel. There was just open air sound. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. If that, you mean when there was no audio? Yeah, we've had streams where it was just completely silent, and we had to restart everything. And even on my laptop, one time I had to restart my laptop and restart the stream several times. But since YouTube Studio Beta came out with this new live stream window, we haven't had any issues with the audio. And it's really kind of nice because you can type in all your information on here, and then you go back over to Streamlabs, and this button normally says Start Live Stream. You click that, and then I disabled that window that lets me modify my title and description.
You want to pop us back in there if you're done with that screen?
Yeah, I'll bring this one back up. And then over here, it says go live. But you can monitor what the people can see right here before you go live. So it makes it kind of nice to test the live stream before hitting the live button.
Now, can people use their laptops like they have at work? Like I know a lot of shops probably have their laptops that they use for looking up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Would that work? Because I know your computer is a bit fancier. Can that handle running both programs?
It probably could. You may have to step down the resolution a little bit. The laptop I use is a Asus gaming laptop.
Completely unnecessary though for
it was like $1,400 bucks, but I got it for the purpose of editing my videos when I wasn't at home. And then my home computer pretty much sat non-used for several months after I got the laptop because it was so much faster than my home computer. And then finally I bought a new computer for at home for editing my videos. So that's what we brought down this time.
But you don't need
But you don't need
the
that.
upgrade.
I think most laptops probably within the last 5 years would probably handle it. Even my work computer, my HP laptop that is 8 years old, would probably do a live stream if I turn the resolution down. You may not have super clarity, but
Open up your comments again.
but that is one thing I could have done.
And did you already go over webcams? I personally think this one is good enough.
I think this one's good enough for.
And it was only, what we say, $60 maybe?
I think so. And
50 to $60.
but it's also 3 years old.
Yeah, I got that when I first started doing video games.
So I think that even a sub $100 webcam would work just fine. Especially, I bet the ones that come out today might have a little better clarity. The lighting is the biggest issue. Like right now, I have I can turn the camera on to that light. I use a lot of Elgato stuff. The Elgato key lights, I have 2 of them. And I'll have Valerie switch that around. Let me switch to her camera. So it's up here above me. It's really kind of bright in the camera, but
Do you purposely have this one going the other direction?
well, it's just that's the way it was when we were doing our stream.
There's a light
I have
facing the wrong way.
2 of them, and the first one I pre-ordered before they came out. Got to figure out where I'm talking here. The first one I pre-ordered before they came out, and it was on back order. Like it wasn't getting shipped, and then I saw that on Amazon they took it off of back order, but mine still hadn't gotten shipped, so I ordered a second one. And I figured, well, when the other one shows up, whatever. And then they both showed up in the same box, so Amazon shipped them together. But they're kind of pricey as well. But it's nice because you can adjust the brightness with the computer, and you can also adjust the color temperature depending on what you're doing. But a lot of that stuff is fitted for video gamers that are in a small room, and they normally have their rooms pretty dark, and they really just want the light on their face. But in a big shop like this, we do have a lot of shadows from the fluorescent lights, and it's kind of nice because it lights up the engine bay a little bit, lights up my face, and I can control the brightness. So we left one over here just for the webcam, and you can see the quality difference between the Panasonic Lumix, which is running at 1080p, and let me switch over to the webcam. So there is a big quality difference, but if you're talking picture in picture, let me see which one we had. If we're really small up here, you really can't make a big difference, or you can't tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
If we put them side by side, which that's the wrong one.
What would be a good starting price for a camera to get started?
Many, if you already have a camera, I know like a couple people in the group have. I don't know if Mike's still in here. We dropped somebody, but if you don't you have a GH5? I think you might have been the one that bought that. So it's real similar to the Panasonic Lumix G7, only a little bit higher. Brownish hue of the Pico captures last night.
I think it was Pico mentioning the Pico color.
Okay. Yeah, that was a direct output from my laptop. So that was the HDMI output from the laptop.
I saw it too on my phone.
Straight
it was
into the
brownish.
capture. So the screen, the background was brown?
Like,
Okay.
it wasn't white like it should have been.
Okay. And that could have been an output setting, or it could have been just one of the inputs. And I didn't go in. I can add filters and adjust the colors a little bit of the inputs, and that could have been what it was as well. It could just be something that is skewed a little bit with the capture card. And that could be as well. I don't know if it was mirroring the display brightness. I don't know if I have the nighttime setting turned on
On your phone?
on my laptop to where it puts more red color in at night, so you're not awake as much to help you go to sleep. And that could have been what it was. Something I should probably check. But you can see even at this size, scaled down, a pretty big quality difference, especially in the tones. The webcam is very white and pale. This one's actually showing realistic skin tones, I think. But am I that tan or no?
No, you're like bleach white.
So there are drawbacks to the webcam, but for the purposes of a cheap get me into a live stream setup, it'd work fine. Most laptops have a built-in webcam. And in the last live stream from last weekend, whenever I was working with the Picoscope on my laptop, that's what I was using. I was using that built-in webcam.
Okay, so you said most of your people, obviously it's a YouTube group, y'all have cameras already, but
Not everyone.
what are they recording on?
A lot of Keith's videos, I think, are done on his phone.
Good for him. Me too, Keith. But do they have the correct ports and stuff? A lot of their, because you're using all these words, the HDMI cable and all
Okay.
that. Do they even have the slots for them on their I keep saying phones because that's what I use, but their cameras.
Not all of them have it.
Is there a way around that?
Not really.
Okay.
So when I was talking to PJ last night? I don't know.
On the phone?
Yeah, when did I talk to PJ? That might have been earlier in the week. I told PJ just to call me. It'd be easier to explain the live stream setup.
I think it was Friday.
And he has a Sony camcorder. And it does have an HDMI output because he can connect it to the TV to play back videos. But I don't know if he can output the HDMI source at the same time as having a live window on the video. So that's probably distracting with multiples of us on here. So I told him to plug it into his TV and see what happens. See if he has, if it has all the little buttons that you normally see on the screen, the zoom window and all that extra stuff. Make sure that it has a clean HDMI output. If it doesn't have a clean HDMI output, check the settings and see if in the settings you can turn that stuff off. Some cameras you cannot. And Elgato actually has a pretty good database of the popular DSLR cameras. If you go to their website, that'll have a compatibility list. And if there's an issue with a certain camera, like if it shuts off after a certain amount of time, then they'll list that in there. If it doesn't have a clean output, they'll list that. Or if it's even like a scaled down resolution, they'll list it. So you can see most of the cameras on that list. If you're going to do anything longer than an hour, really make sure that your camera battery can handle that. With the Lumix, we can get about an hour and a half on one battery. But my primary Lumix, I have a $20 Amazon power supply for it that just plugs into the battery slot. The other Lumix behind me, my dad just bought for the shop. I don't know if it'll get used much for the shop. He wants to maybe try YouTube, so we figured we'd get him the same one that I have, just so I know all the settings inside already. so I can walk him through it. If it doesn't get used for that, like obviously yesterday, he's like, oh, I'll just go ahead and use my other camera or my new camera. So we had two identical cameras for the setup, which makes it kind of nice. We were also looking at some of the Sony cameras, and we were thinking about going and picking one up today, but it sold before we before we got there. You just got to make sure that it has some sort of video output that you can hook up to an HDMI cable. Mine has the mini plug-in, so I got a cord for my primary camera that has just that on one end, and then the regular HDMI on the other end. My other cameras I'm running with an adapter. And then the same thing with my scanner. I have the Zeus, or the Virus would be the same with the docking station. When you have it plugged into the docking station, there's an HDMI output on the docking station. So that is this screen right here. And it has really good resolution, even though the screen resolution for the Zeus is only, I think, 720p. It displays well because it's not actual video. But if I didn't have the docking station, I wouldn't be able to do that as easily for camera display. In one of my videos, I reviewed the Snap-on Triton. I took my GoPro and a GoPro mount, and I just clamped the GoPro mount to the scanner, and I positioned the GoPro right above it. The GoPros have a HDMI output as well, so that would work as long as the GoPro is going to stay turned on properly. That's actually how Snap-on told me they do some of their promotional videos and their live streams, is they have a special fixture that sits over it for their camera. So I was like, well, I can do that with the GoPro. And then I think one of their live streams, they told me that their Modus was a special, or I had my rep call in to their marketing department, and their Modus has a special HDMI port on it, so they can do their videos for it. So, go ahead.
They can't see you looking at that camera.
Oh. I was saying that yesterday. I really wish that I had a blinking red light above whatever camera is turned on.
I'm your blinking red light. Look at this camera right here.
Okay, now I can look at the screen and still talk to the camera.
Okay. It's going to be this one right here.
So that's the rundown on the software. It is rather complicated. I think YouTube actually took away the built-in ability to stream straight from their website. I think you used to be able to stream your webcam straight from the website. But they took that away, and now you have to use an encoder like Streamlabs OBS or regular OBS, or there's a couple of other ones as well. And then also,
did you learn all this on your own, or is there like a YouTube video you can link for them?
Lots of practice.
Okay, what's the faster, easier way?
I started with just like one basic scene with the video game display and our picture-in-picture for whenever we were gaming. So that was a very, getting it set up the first time was very minimal, and I'm sure that that's what you guys would be doing for your live stream, just to get started. I don't think you have to go this extreme and have all this stuff on the screen, but you don't have to go live. You can also do desktop recording with this software. So I've used this same software the cricket's back.
I kicked him out.
To do my videos for Mitchell, when I was showing the difference in the wiring diagrams and the difference in just the software between Mitchell and ALLDATA. I didn't go live, but I used this software to record it. Let me make us smaller again so you guys can see the screen. That's the wrong window. I'm screwing this thing all up. So we get that out of the way. Let me mute these other ones. Okay, so down here at the bottom, there's a button. Pointing to the wrong section. Down here at the bottom, there's a button that says record. So you can do just desktop recording with this software. I believe the software, actually, I cannot run this software on my shop laptop.
What's that?
It is too old for this particular software. I think it requires DirectX 11. I think that was the limiting factor, which
I didn't know you could screen record with just this.
yeah, I
will
found.
start doing that
Oh, for your
for my what sold.
what sold? Yeah.
That's cool.
So you can do it. You can set it up to automatically record your live stream as well. And I don't use that because I figure it's already on YouTube. I'm not going to go back and spend the time to edit it. Like we were talking last night, that vehicle that I worked on last night live, even though it took an hour and 20 minutes for the whole show, if I was making that into a YouTube video, it probably would have been a 10-minute video. But I'm not going to go back and edit all the stuff out, especially since most of the tests I did were recommended by the audience. It's not really. I want everyone to see the whole show, and I haven't decided if I'm going to keep all the live streams up and visible. After a certain amount of time, I may take them away, but I haven't decided. It really just depends on what kind of feedback I get down the road on those videos. Sorry, smack you. The since how many people we got? 3 people in here. What I noticed is for you guys with the smaller channels, especially, I wish PJ and Cody were in here. I can pull it up real quick as well. The watch time is tremendous. That's the biggest limiting factor for most of you, I think, with the small channels in order to get monetized, is the watch time. I know PJ has over 1,000 subscribers, and he's waiting for that watch time to reach 4,000 hours in a year. My channel was the opposite. I didn't put any diagnostic videos out when I started. All of my videos were repair videos, and I tried to do stuff that was common for the viewers. And I did a lift kit on a brand new Toyota Tacoma, and that video got a lot of views. I've got a key fob video that it's only a minute long, so it doesn't get a lot of watch time, but it's got like 60,000 views. So I built up my watch time well before I hit 1,000 subscribers. I think I had the 4,000 hours of watch time within the first year. It took about another 6 months for me to reach the 1,000 subscriber milestone. If you're the other way, if you have a lot of subscribers, especially I've gotten a lot more since I've been in the YouTube group and been networking with everyone, and my videos get shared out a lot more. So that has helped me grow tremendously. But the watch time I get from the live videos would be well enough to push someone into the realm of putting ads on their channel. I'm going to bring over my other window, and I'll just show you the bump that it gives. So just open up another tab for YouTube. And I use, I don't know if you guys are using TubeBuddy or not. It's not really necessary, but it does give you a few extra features that the YouTube analytics don't give. Is this views or watch time? Let's go to watch time. So this big bump in watch time is all from that live stream. So if I go to that video, it's going to show make sure that's what I want to click on. Analytics. The watch time, I got 9,000 minutes of watch time on that video alone, which is insane. But if you consider that we probably had 20 people in there that watched a large majority of the video that was an hour long.
Well, even if you just have a few people in there that watch, stick with you the whole way through,
makes
that's
a huge difference.
2 hours of watch time right there from one person.
So, you know, I think we had about 120 people in there watching it live for the views that came in and left and came in and left. So you can see over here on my analytics, I had, you know, a lot of views. So it said 69 people for the first hour, 47 on the second hour, and then it dropped down, and then you know, it's kind of fading. But the watch time it generates on a long video like that when it's interactive is really going to help. I need to move this because I can't read the comments.
They're right here on my screen.
Okay. But that would make a big jump for PJ. I know PJ really wants to do a live stream to help some of the Toyota techs. I think the biggest problem that he's going to run into on that particular one is maybe the techs might not come in during the live stream. But if he does it during the does it live and can answer a few questions, then the other Toyota techs that actually want to learn, he said that there's quite a few that don't really want to learn or think that the scope is a waste of time or are afraid to get started with it. They may not watch the live stream. But obviously, if he goes live and shares it with us, then we're all going to be watching and asking questions just to fuel the discussion and help get those other techs participating. And even if they're not participating and commenting, just if we're feeding the questions in, like I didn't know how to use the rulers. I've never had to use the built-in rulers except for the two primary ones and then the two for the engine cycle. I've never gone beyond that. So I didn't know that there was a button inside Pico for 4 divisions or 6 divisions to add those rulers because I always export to a waveform viewer. So that was something I didn't know. So if PJ does do it live, we can ask questions like that. Well, how are you identifying what cylinder it is? And then he can show us, and it'll really fuel the engagement and help the people that are wanting to learn. So I don't see anyone else commenting. I don't know if Mike is still in here. I don't think Cody or PJ ever hopped in. Just gonna check the chat real quick. Yeah, they can watch this later. I'll post a link up maybe tomorrow so they can watch it because I don't know if the live link is the same link as after the live stream. So I'll share it back with them. They can watch the setup. It's a little daunting to see my setup. It's a little overcomplicated for what it needs to be, but at the same time, I don't think we'd have quite the same results, or I don't think it would be as fun with me stuck in front of the one camera. I do like having the multiple sources, but just getting started, I think it would be just fine with the webcam, especially I know PJ wanted to do the webcam and then one camera under the hood of the vehicle. So that way he could show his face whenever he was using the Picoscope software. Because it's really boring if I just had this, turned on to this the whole time and you guys can't see my face right now. And I'm not actually touching any buttons on the scanner. It's kind of boring. You lose interest. Or if someone clicks on it and I'm quiet for a second while I'm doing something, they're going to think the stream is dead.
Yeah.
And they're going to click out of it.
Or that it froze.
Or that it froze. So it's really nice to have the picture-in-picture just so they feel like they're actually interacting with a real person. So I think PJ wants picture-in-picture, which he just got a new Toughbook for work. It's a work-issued computer, so he's going to try it out with that. And it probably has enough speed to do at least the webcam and display capture, but I think that he can also do at least one video source. I don't know how he'll mount his camera under the hood, but he wants to show, here's how we hook up to a throttle position sensor and test it. And I think that'll be a good video. I'll let him go and do that. He uses probably the Picoscope software more than I do. Mario, I know that I didn't see it, but I heard he did a live stream and had audio issues as well. I think that's one of the biggest issues out there is audio and or getting frame buffering where you don't know that you're really choppy if your internet's bad. The first time we were connected via Wi-Fi from my laptop and we didn't have any issues. I ran an Ethernet cord to my desktop all the way from our server room for this stream, and we have pretty fast internet. We have, I think, 300 down, and when I did the speed test, we had about 300 down and 15 up. Okay, so he's using the factory Toyota Pico software. So that will be a little different from what we have. But since I know he wants to tailor it for the Toyota techs, that'd probably be best for him.
I like your idea of having a cart specifically for streaming so that you don't have to worry about setting up and breaking down after every session, because it is a bit time consuming.
Yeah, that I think would be really nice. Let me switch this. Let me pull this camera back.
Hold on.
So this table is probably a 4-foot table. What I would like to do is, if I could get a small, maybe a little smaller table, with a monitor stand in the back holding 2 monitors, and then I can get another desktop computer or rebuild my old desktop computer to make it fast enough for the stream, then I could leave this whole thing set up at work, and I'll just build a cover for the monitors. So the
Showing my credit cards.
so everything doesn't get all destroyed. The biggest problem that I have at our shop is we are pretty much out of room for equipment. I think we found a spot where I could store it for the live streams, but it took us about 4 hours to get set up for the last live stream, primarily because I had to rebuild all of this, all the scenes, all the inputs.
But once that's there, is it saved for like our next?
Yes, now it's going to be all jumbled up because I moved a bunch of it around for this stream, but I only did those couple of channels, and all my inputs are set up because I was working with 4 inputs, actually 5 with the webcam. So all that stuff is now saved in the software. So next time I boot up the software, it'll work just fine. And then I probably could have even, on my Rode wireless mic, if I would have plugged it into the microphone input, I didn't even think about that, on top of the computer, I could have used the built-in audio card to capture that, because that is an option in my setup here for inputs. So that would have worked, but I didn't think about that the other night. Let me see if that is an option. You don't want to do the audio output capture. Typically, you want to do the audio input capture if you are adding an audio device.
How come?
The output is, I think, the complete desktop audio.
Mm.
So if you have notifications pop up on your computer or stuff running in the background, then they're going to hear all that.
Gotcha.
We want to do a new source, add a source, and okay, I don't see my,
This might be a stupid question.
yeah, I don't see the built-in audio for my computer, but I can use the webcam audio if I wanted to use that, which isn't very good.
Sorry, you can finish your thought, then I'll ask my stupid question.
Okay. The Elgato, it's not Elgato. The Elgato HD60 has a microphone jack built in. So that one, it's the USB one. Let's see if I got enough slack here. That is this guy. It has a microphone input. So you can select that as a line input. There is also a built-in software that comes with all the Elgato devices. It's called Game Capture, but you cannot run multiple inputs all at once. It's designed to capture the desktop or the game you're playing and one camera source. So if you want to do more than that, you can't use their software. But you do have to use their software sometimes to set up the inputs. And then you close that software, let it sit for about 10 seconds, open it up in Streamlabs, and then you can go from there.
Huh?
And then I've mentioned it in the group before. Some of this stuff I've learned just by watching other YouTubers set it up. That's the easiest way to learn. But I watch a lot of Nick Nimmin. He does How to Grow Your YouTube Channel. He's very informative. He's very easy to understand. He edits with like Sony Vegas or something, so I didn't watch many of his editing videos. But he has great ideas for lighting, for all your keyword research and titles and descriptions, for search engine optimization, so people can actually find your content. And then he does thumbnail videos. He also does a live stream, typically on Saturday mornings. He doesn't do them every Saturday, and he quit doing them for a while just because he wanted to check what the analytics on his channel were, if they would go up or down with the live streams. But I really like his live streams. There's normally about 200 people that are participating live, and the chat goes very quickly. But sometimes I'll super chat $5 or $10, and I'm more likely to get my question answered. And I also pay a channel membership to him, so I'm also on a Facebook group now, so I can ask him questions in there and also get advice from other big YouTubers. There's also Brian G. Johnson. I kind of wish I could meet him in person. He lives in Colorado Springs. He lives an hour away from me, but
Let's go.
I don't think that he would be someone that I got along with in person. Maybe I don't know. I don't think maybe he probably wouldn't want to meet me because I'm just like a peon of a YouTuber. But he does some pretty decent videos.
What's that make me?
But at the same time, he's also had a lot of channel strikes, and then he talks about the channel strikes. So that's not the best way to do it. And then we mentioned a while back that with the new YouTube setup, you can see if people are copywriting your content or using your content. Let me pull this back over. Get rid of the mic or the camera real quick so you can see. So over here on the left there is a copyright button, and this is where I found out that King Bolin took 100% of my video and used it for their video. I'm not going to fight it. I could dispute it, but you know, since we're currently working with him, even though he didn't have us sign an agreement, I'm gonna let it ride for now. But that's where, especially Eric O and Scanner Danner, you know, they can find out who's stealing their content very easily. YouTube added that in here, at least functional, within the last 6 months. So I think that's a really good feature to have. Let me switch back to the other window so I can see the chat. Yes, I actually got a strike. Well, it wasn't a strike. I didn't get a copyright strike. I got a copyright claim on my channel for one of the Biscayne videos because I had music in it, and I linked the incorrect YouTube channel to my forget the company's name, Epidemic Sound. That's where I get my music when I do have music, and that's where I was getting my sound. But I had my other YouTube channel linked to that, which I don't ever even use. And since it wasn't linked to the correct one, as soon as I uploaded that video, the next day I logged in and it said I had a copyright claim. And the solution was either take down the video, or I had 30 days to create a subscription for that, for my other channel. So now I have 2 subscriptions, because I don't think I ever canceled my other one. But I still have audio from them on my other channel, and you don't have to keep the subscription in order to keep the videos. You just have to have an active subscription when the video is uploaded.
Gotcha.
So I could go back and delete the other one, but I never know when I'm going to use that channel again, so I don't want to, you know, risk it. It's like, I think I got in on a promo and it was like $10 a month. So that's you know, one trip to McDonald's. But of course, you know, since I have 2 accounts, it adds up a little bit. So I should probably get rid of the one, but you never know.
Or you could stop eating McDonald's.
I could stop eating McDonald's. That's probably switch to Taco Bell.
Nobody's got the time for that.
No one's got time for that. Our Taco Bell takes about 40 minutes to get through the drive-thru. So I guess if you guys have any questions, I think that you could do if you already had a laptop with a webcam and you already have a camera that does HDMI output, then the capture card is about $150. But there are a lot of failed video game streamers, and you can find these devices on Craigslist all the time for under $100. Green screens, probably not these lights, because most of the people that actually spend the money on these lights are already established on their channel.
Yeah, not these ones, but you see all the time the umbrella lights for really cheap.
Oh, and I bought that whole kit for $20.
Yeah, secondhand.
Yeah, secondhand. Specific brand of capture card. There's several out there. I know I'm just familiar with the Elgato ones, and that's why I keep buying those ones because I know that they work. I know how to set them up. Um, I almost ordered Blackmagic makes a 4-channel PCI Express input card. If I would put that in this computer, then I wouldn't have to run any other devices. I could run them all into that one device. But it's like $500. I'm like, I'd rather buy one this month and then a couple months down the road buy another one.
It's a lot of McDonald's.
That's a lot of McDonald's. That's going to blow my monthly McDonald budget. So there are other cards out there, and I'm sure there's cards that are cheaper. Elgato just got bought out by Corsair, which makes memory for computers and a bunch of internal parts. So they got bought out by a bigger computer company. And I haven't noticed anything change really other than their website changed and they came out with the key lights. So when I ordered those from Amazon, they actually were sold by Corsair versus Elgato.
They are nice and they're easy to move around. Did you say, I don't know if you said how much you spent on them. I don't want to know how much you spent on them, but they are nice.
They're not terrible. They're $200 a piece.
No, that's terrible. Stick with the umbrella lighting.
But I can.
Yeah, it is nice being able
to control them.
Yeah, I used to film with
like
these
now it's super bright.
for my videos.
I just moved a little brightness indicator on my computer. If I wanted a little warmer tone, I can adjust all that.
That part I do like because it's like you're color correcting as you're filming.
Yes.
It's really, really nice.
And I can do the same thing from my phone. Oh, the other one's disconnected.
Did I turn it? Oh, it's disconnected.
Is it turned off?
No, it's on.
Oh, I just showed it. It was off. So there are a lot of features with that. But my first setup.
Can you turn this down a bit? It's really bright.
My first setup I got, I just saw it listed on Facebook Marketplace at a garage sale. Mm-hmm. They had a green screen and some lighting stuff. And we went to the garage sale and I paid $20 for 2 of the umbrella stands with the light fixtures. It didn't have the bulbs, I don't think.
I don't remember.
We put some LED bulbs in there. And then it came with a framework for a green screen, but the green screen, the lady only had half of it, and it was a half a panel, and it was really wrinkly, so I never really used that green screen.
I do like the new green screen.
We have a new green screen from the same company, Elgato, and it's like a school projector. It rolls up and down for like just a video projector or I don't know what else to call it, but it keeps it completely wrinkle free. And when you roll it down into the ground, it's in a box about this big that's 5 foot long, and it's really easy to throw in the closet and be done with it when you're not using it. Even with that though, you really need a couple of good lights. You don't have to buy the Elgato ones, just a couple of good light sources lighting up the screen evenly behind you if you want to use a green screen. I had a few issues when I did my green screen video because I didn't have both of my lights set up, and it was kind of I'm going to do this video real quick. But Cody had pretty good luck with the green screen that just clips on the back of his chair. I think that's how he did it a couple of videos a while back.
I'll have to go watch it. I didn't see that one. I am interested to see that kind of green screen though.
Yeah, it just latches onto his chair.
But is it like wide behind you?
I think it's like a circular thing that comes around the back of the chair.
Huh.
So as long as you're zoomed in like close to your face or like your torso and up, then you should be covered by the green screen. But even ours, I find that it's like I wish it was bigger.
Yeah.
Like it would be like I want to make sure that everything else is blocked out in my house and it's just my silhouette.
And there's always that sliver on the edge of the green screen.
Yeah. I don't think there was anything else. Let me drag this back over real quick.
I think you should do
right over here when we were on normal latency the first live stream we did, and that's when someone commented that there was like a 30-second delay. Right now we're running about a 10-second delay and I'm on low latency. I tried ultra low and I kept getting errors popping up over here. So I don't know if my internet just couldn't handle that fast of a video, But it says on here that the low latency, it probably won't pop up since we're already live, but it says that the low latency is good for near real-time interaction. Ultra low is real-time. Normal, there's a 30-second delay, so everything gets delayed. So by time that the audience comments, and then me or Valerie sees it and reads it, and then you guys hear it again, that's like a 20-second delay because we're that far behind.
More than that. I like to wait for you to take a pause before I read you comment, so the delay gets pretty big with me reading them to you.
I'm very long-winded.
Yes. But if it wasn't an interactive one, would it be okay on normal latency?
Absolutely. Like if you just wanted to have a video where it wasn't as interactive as our diagnostic video, then the normal latency would be just fine. Trying to think of like what really upsets people is when there's like a drawing and you say like, okay, the first person to type the answer to this in there, people get really upset because they think they're the first one and they type it and it comes up on the screen wrong because there's a delay. That's the biggest issue. And my parents, they said they opened it up on their phones when we did the live stream, and both of their cell phones were playing like a second apart. So finally they just shut off one cell phone and streamed the other cell phone to the TV because it was so bad.
And some of that's me as far as like comments coming up first. I try to read the ones that have to do with what you're working on so that I don't miss it and you don't miss a step that they want you to do.
Yeah, it makes sense because there's a lot of interaction between the viewers. A lot of people answer questions that are in the chat that I don't necessarily even need to see or read because we have a bunch of other stuff going on. And I've even considered setting up my projector to project just the comments onto the wall. But
and firing me.
Not firing you. But I tested the projector on the wall, and it doesn't make. I don't have a good enough resolution projector to display big enough on the wall for me to read it. Text is very pixelated, so that wouldn't work.
But if you could get it to work, though, that would be a good option for like someone like PJ or whoever's going to be working alone in the shop.
Yes,
that would be a good option if you could figure out.
Yeah, if I didn't
make it readable. What if you had a little white screen and you were projecting it closer to you? Not necessarily a big screen, but
that would work too.
And you can get projectors pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Used.
Well, that's where I got that one. But it has 720p. I really wanted one that did 1080p, but it wasn't in the budget. Like new ones are like $800 for a quality one that has good brightness. We tested it in the evening time. It wasn't dark in the shop. And we just shined it up onto the wall. And it was okay, but it was kind of washed out. So I think if I had one of those roll-out projector things just to shine it on there, or even if I just had a TV set up, another monitor near me with the comment section.
It had to be big enough, though.
Correct. Like this right here that I can see on the screen, I'd have to be at least like 2 feet away or closer to read the comments.
It's hard for me to read sitting next to it when it's going fast, but it is easier than the phone.
And the YouTube live website, you can pop the chat out of the browser, and we were hoping that would work, but it doesn't make the chat any bigger. It just makes it to where if it's a longer chat response, that it doesn't take up like 3 or 4 lines. It's just a long straight line. Like most of the stuff that you're commenting takes up 2 to 3 lines in the chat, and if we have the pop out chat, so I can do that, it makes it to where everything's stretched out a little bit further, and I think I could probably make that bigger, but I can't make the text bigger. I even tried zooming in on it, and it just didn't work.
If you could, that would make it so much easier for me. That works.
Yes, I did see that. That is one of the settings. I think they just call it slow chat. If somebody comments, they have to wait so long before they can comment again. I don't know how long it is.
Yeah, but I don't want to slow down their chatter because I'm just trying to read through it fast enough to make sure I'm not missing comments for you. But I do like to throw you some of their off the wall comments just to keep it entertaining for you.
Yeah. So it doesn't really slow down the display of the chat. It just makes it to where people have to wait before they can send in another.
Yeah, I've encountered that before on big rooms of live chats.
So does Eric? I haven't seen an Erico live. Have you?
Dr. O?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I must be working when he goes live or something.
Maybe. Well, not like a professional one. It was just him sitting and talking with Vinny.
Okay.
That was the last one I saw when they were paving the street.
Oh. Was that during the day though?
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone, I don't check it very often during the day, so I don't get a lot of the live streams. Okay, so he does them in the fall. I think it's fun. We'll do them while we can. And I really like the interactive part. The first one I got a lot of subscribers for, but I think that's because Mario and Cody shared it in their Facebook groups. And the people in those groups that hadn't already subscribed jumped in and subscribed to my channel, because I got like a good 100 subscriber boost over like a 3-day period over what I'd normally get. And I'm sure it was all from that first live stream. This one I didn't get that big of a jump. I probably got an extra 10 over what I normally would get, but I think that's because, you know, a lot of the people that did subscribe were in those groups.
Yeah, and I do think the quality might have been down a little bit from the last stream. The audio was off.
We had the audio that was off.
The humming, you couldn't hear.
Yeah, it'll take us a little bit to get
it right.
To get everything set up right to where everything just flows. Where my cues to Valerie to change inputs are a little less noticeable, and I'm actually looking at the right cameras and and paying attention. I almost need like a display of what is actually happening so I can see if I'm looking in the right place. Yeah, and I didn't know if I was even going to be ready for the live stream, is why I didn't promote it. We were actually, I wanted to start at 6 o'clock our time, and we got started at 6:45, I think.
Did we? I didn't think we were that late last night. Maybe.
Not sure. Like, we were right at the edge of. No, I guess we weren't quite that late. But there was other stuff I wanted to test, and we decided that we better just get it up and live. But I don't know. I think next time we get set up, it'll go a little easier. I was hoping that starting earlier in the night would help the viewers. We may even, like wintertime, definitely. I think if we started at like 4 or 5 Mountain Time, then most people are already like settled down in their house by then. On the East Coast, for sure, because 5 o'clock, that'd be 7 o'clock their time. I think that would be best. Once we get pushed past 9 o'clock in any time zone, I think we're going to lose subscribers for people that are getting ready for bed or sleeping already. Yeah, we were really hoping to do it. We wanted to do it, and we just really pushed to get everything set up. So definitely not happening next weekend. Possibly 2 more weeks we can get set up again, and if I have a vehicle. That's really what it all comes down to. Is
next week?
Next weekend we got the game.
I was gonna say.
So the following weekend would be the next soonest weekend. But October is going to be super busy. I have 2 different Napa classes to go to.
What days?
One's on October 1st or the 3rd.
Okay.
One's on the 21st.
Okay.
We have Super Saturday on the 12th.
An enduro cross on the next weekend.
And a motorcycle race to go to. And there's a
concert. Oh no, you say the 21st? Where's that at?
There's also a concert. Well, that's the same weekend as enduro cross. So our October is completely shot.
Where's your training on the 21st?
Pueblo. I don't know. I know I have one at the beginning of October and one at the end of October locally. And then we'll have Super Saturday. We're flying in Friday morning.
Early Friday morning.
early Friday morning. Our flight leaves Colorado at like midnight Thursday night, and then so we'll get to Philly early Friday morning. Get a car. We're gonna do some sightseeing on Friday. We'll be in Warminster Friday night, and I think we're just going to stay at the same hotel for 3 nights. I think it'll be easiest. Our plane leaves Philly Monday afternoon.
Afternoon. I thought I was having to drive back at like 2 in the
It
morning.
is, but or Monday evening.
Okay.
I don't know. Our plane lands here at like midnight, so I've got work in the morning, so we'll have to drive 2 hours back home. So we're gonna be beat that week, and then I have class again right afterwards. I've been trying to get stuff set up for. There's a Super Saturday like event in Colorado. It's called the Colorado Summit. I talked to Mario the other day. I don't think I'll do a video or anything on it, but I told him to find out if his brother wants to go to it, and if he does, and he needs help going, then I'll help sponsor the ticket to that. Just if he's even interested. Mario hit him up, and he's like, well, if he doesn't know what the schedule is, if he has time, because I think he works a couple of jobs. But if that event in Colorado is just as good as the event in PA, then I think it would be kind of cool to, in a year or two, try to get everyone to Colorado, or at least some people,
There's not much sightseeing here.
especially it's in January. I think Corey commented Colorado skiing, so I don't know if he likes skiing or not, but if that's just something that he wanted to do while he was out here. We were talking about it earlier, and I was like, I don't know what we would show everyone. Keith, you guys have New York and Staten Island and Jersey. Everything's all right there, really close together. And in Colorado, we have mountains.
Our Walmart is a super Walmart, though.
That's true.
Super.
We've got a lot of Goodwill outlets, so
That's true.
do a lot of thrifting. We actually don't have that much snow. They get it in the high mountains. We probably get.
Just enough to make it muddy. We don't actually get snow.
Yeah, we probably get like 4 or 5 snowstorms a year where we get more than an inch. And then it's melted within 2 days. There might be like a week-long period where the snow stays and we actually have ice on the roads. And other than that, the snow disappears out here. We're at 5,000 feet. And if you drive,
What's their elevation?
they're probably close to zero. What's your elevation where you're at? I mean, they're right by the sea, the ocean.
So much oxygen, right?
There is a lot of oxygen.
Fun.
We're going to be so much healthier when we're down there.
No, we ain't. I'm eating everything.
Yeah, we don't have much to show. And I'm not an entertainer really, so in person. So we don't
That's true.
we don't have,
Even if we took them to Denver, what does Denver have to offer?
we don't know because we don't go out and do that kind of stuff.
We go thrift store shopping. That's what we do for fun.
Yeah. No more than 500 feet elevation.
That's really cool. Have we ever? No,
We
I
went to
guess I
California.
have. Yeah, I guess I have. Huh.
Yeah, neither one of us have been to the East Coast, so that'll be fun.
I'm excited.
I wish we had more time to spend there, but I think this will give us a good sampling of it, and then we can decide. My schedule is super crazy, so I don't normally have time to do that kind of stuff. I think I would have the most likely chance of spending like a week if it was in the summertime, because I can't really leave school for a week. Well, they got winter break and stuff like that, but I don't know. New York in the winter probably wouldn't be.
I'll take it any time of the year.
I don't know. That's when we can go visit Mario in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we definitely don't get out of here enough, and we want to go to these events and meet people. Valerie does YouTube as well, but there's not really any conventions. There's a posh one.
Yeah, there's a big one coming up. It's maybe the same weekend as yours.
Oh,
It's either the week before or the same weekend.
And where's that one at? Probably the East Coast somewhere.
No, I think this year they're having it in Arizona,
Okay.
but I'm not. I'd rather go to your thing. Your thing sounds funner.
Yeah. It I don't know, a lot more people that you interact with, I guess.
It's odd though. There's the Poshmark People Convention, but I actually think I'll have more in common with your group of people.
That's true. Most of the other posh people that I've seen you
They're not as
like you have she has a small group like our group that she interacts with, but then there's also, you know, a million other people that do it and have YouTube channels and stuff, and most of those people are like complete polar opposites of what me and you are like.
yeah.
So I don't think that would go. I really like the group that we have for our automotive stuff. Everyone has, I think we're like on an 80%.
I like y'all's
Equivalence.
personalities.
And we have a diverse group of people too. So I think there's a little bit for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us have the same mindset, at least when it comes to professionalism and what we're doing with YouTube versus working on cars in real life, and how we treat customers. And you know, I think we're all pretty fair people, which is what I like. There's a lot of other big YouTubers out there that aren't in our group that I don't think that we would ever let in just because of that.
If Scotty wants in my group, I will let him in my group.
Oh, I thought we had sent invite to Steven. She said a lot of the wives will be there too. I think Cody said his wife, and PJ said his wife will be there. They're gonna go to the water park though. I don't know. I don't know if it's an indoor water park. Seems like it could be cold in October.
You would think it'd be cold, but it's probably an indoor one, like that Wolf.
Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah, PJ just went there with his family.
Oh, they went out there. Oh, Steckler's wife. Well, I don't even know where Steckler lives. I figured he lived next to you guys since he's always popping into people's Facebooks. You know, seeing drawing a blank. I don't know. He's in everybody's Facebook pages. Like,
yeah, he's got like a selfie with everybody.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, I think PJ told me his wife was staying at the water park, which he said was about an hour away, and Cody's wife might be doing the same. Welcome, PJ. We're just about to wrap it up.
We're just talking about water parks.
PJ, you said 8:30 to 9 o'clock your time. That's right when we started. It was like 6:45 our time. Man, you missed a lot. I'm gonna unlist. Make sure that you can't watch the whole thing. Snooze, you lose. Yeah, we went over my very overcomplicated YouTube setup, and
You'll just have to make a video with the most simple setup you can do to make it work, and then actually walk around with your camera.
so that's his hashtag that she just shared. Effing dealer techs.
Gotcha.
And of course, PJ puts in right afterwards. Are you the only dealer tech we have in the group? I think so. I can't think of anyone else that works at the dealership. She's still doing guard duty.
She's waiting for Patrick to come back.
Oh, my dog is right outside the shop, just guarding the place. Oh, he works at Nissan? Okay. Yeah, he's very intermittent into the group. Like, I didn't even know he was in the group for the longest time until he popped in one day. But there's a lot of people in the group that are like that. And it's kind of weird that we lost the disgruntled mechanic. I don't know if he ever got into Slack, but we got that notification one day that he left the Google group. Do you know if he came back? That Mike.
Why do you keep looking at me? I don't know.
It's Mike, right, from the Disgruntled Mechanic. He's in Hangouts, but not Slack. Okay. I know one of them he joined and left, but I know that I don't know if he left because the chat was too overwhelming. I know we've had a couple people leave because of that. Okay. And then we had, who else do we have? We got a bunch of people in there. I didn't even know Bus Jockey was in the group. He's pretty quiet. Jumps in every now and then. Scanner Danner. So I like that we have a large, diverse group, even though everyone doesn't participate full time. I think Chris is in the chat pretty regularly. He's probably sleeping right now or working. So you can either watch this video over again, or should I do just like a quick, simple run through?
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I think as long as Google Hangouts is around, a lot of them won't join the other one. And sometimes it is even confusing for me to follow two different conversations because I don't. There's active conversations in both, and it.
Do you have two because everyone hasn't switched over yet?
Mm-hmm.
You should just make a deadline and be like, this is when we're stopping this one.
But a lot of the people have, since they haven't switched over and they don't participate all the time, they don't know that we're switching over.
Well, you snooze, you lose.
Let me grab a water real quick. You want one?
I'll grab you a water.
Yeah.
You stay in front of the camera. We need to upgrade our seating.
Yeah, our chairs are really uncomfortable.
Cold water? Fridge water?
Fridge water's fine. Okay, I will do a quick run through. Let me share my my regular screen with you so you can see the software I'm using. I think for you, PJ, you can use your work computer. I would install this software and see if it functions. If it doesn't function, then you'll probably have to get a different computer because the software requires DirectX 11, which is normally only required by like video games and certain video stuff, but this does require it. And maybe a table that doesn't roll away every time I put my foot on it. So the software we're using is Streamlabs OBS. And Kuba just put it in the chat there. So this is what the software looks like. Let me see. Let me move me real quick. We're just going to kind of sidebar me. This is what it looks like when you're setting up the software. Now, I have a very complicated setup because these over here are the scenes. As I click on each one of these, I'll click through them, but I just want to show you what I'm clicking on. Left Lumix, right Lumix, scanner only, laptop only, which was connected to my laptop. It's not anymore. I'm sharing the desktop screen. Picture in picture. You can pre-program all of these different inputs. So you get back to this one here. You can pre-program all of those inputs before you go live, and you can practice them, and you can even use this software for screen recording and not streaming. If you just wanted to screen record yourself on the webcam and use the Picoscope software or show your techs how to look up certain information on your Toyota TIS system. You can do that. There is a record button down here at the bottom that will allow you to record to the desktop. Hey Drew, we actually just started doing another quick run through of the software since people are joining in. The software is Streamlabs OBS, and we just got started with PJ, so I'm sharing my screen right now. The image that you're seeing of me right here, that is just, I have a webcam overlay. I'll move it out of the way so you'd see the normal setup. So this is what you're broadcasting, and you can set this all up ahead of time before you broadcast, and you can also use this for screen recording your desktop if you wanted to. Over here are different scenes that I have programmed, and then over here are all of my sources. So I have any input that I have into the computer, I have listed over here. And what I did is I made one with all of my inputs and duplicated that over and over again, and then I just gave it different names, and then I selected and unselected certain things. So this this input is muted. If I turn it on, it gives me my other camera angle. So I like to turn them all on, or import all of them, so I have all of the options if I want to during the live stream, if I want to change it up a little bit like what I'm doing right now. And then over here, since I have all these inputs available, it gives me all of my audio screens over here. I have almost everything muted except for my microphone input, which I have an audio interface that I'm using for that. But I can crank up this guy here and mute that one. And now I'm actually just using the audio. Hopefully it's coming through, but I'm using the audio from, I don't even have that one visible. No. Actually, we're using the audio from that one. I got my inputs flip-flopped. So the left Lumix is on my right side, and it has a microphone with a dead cat up on top, one of the Rode Video Micros. I'm not using the built-in audio, although I could. So that's the audio we're using right now, but I'm going to go ahead and mute that one. So you could be fine with just the webcam audio or the desktop audio if you're close.
It echoes.
It echoes?
That's what the chat says.
Oh, it's because I didn't mute my other one. So it's echoing because Okay, how about now? Now it should be not echoing because I was running this microphone and I was running the camera audio, which is over here somewhere. So the echo is probably gone. And that's just the audio delay because it has to go through the camera, through the HDMI cord, into the interface, and back, plus the camera's further away from me than this microphone, so there's also a delay there. So that's what I had a problem with at the beginning of the live stream last night, is I had camera audio and my microphone audio going at the same time. And then we had an issue with running stereo audio, which was a bad deal because Valerie was in one side, I was in the other. How about now? Can you hear me now? I think I probably clicked on the wrong one. Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty tired. It's 8:30 our time, but I think we got up. Dog woke us up at like 6 a.m. So can you guys hear me now? Okay, you can. And I probably need to relabel this. I have that one labeled right, which is the microphone, which is what I'm using right here.
Are you turned on at all?
No, no, I don't have this microphone hooked up. I have it turned down, which is easy for me to switch over because it is on. So now I'm in the microphone here, but for most of the stream, I was just running it through my other microphone. So now we're back to my other microphone. I have to turn it up a little bit
now
so you guys can hear me.
For them, if they were doing live streaming, would they be okay with just the dead cat on the camera?
Yes, for a simple setup, if you have a camera with decent audio, then you could just use the audio from that camera as long as you can run an HDMI cable to your camera and have it on the screen with none of the buttons or displays. So like normally when you look at the screen on your camera, you can see like the audio level, your zoom, some of the other features, how much time left you have to record. You want to make sure that that stuff doesn't display onto your screen when it's plugged into, say, your television. And sometimes in the settings, there'll be an option for that. Like mine was called under the TV connection. I think it had like monitor info display or something. And I actually had to go back to my other camera and look at what settings I had to set up the new camera the same way.
What does a decent camera cost?
A decent camera is like this Panasonic Lumix is around 500 bucks, but you can get a used camera. You can't really go out and buy a brand new DSLR camera for less than that. I kind of like the Panasonic because it has the unlimited record time as an option. So if you can find a camera even on Facebook Marketplace, I've seen some of the Panasonic cameras on there for $400 to $600, but they were just on sale for $500, so I picked up another one for the shop.
But if you buy them used, most of the time you can get all the accessories.
You can get all the accessories. I also have a AC power supply for my primary camera, just because the battery will last a little over an hour. I think we've gone up to an hour and a half on a live stream on a battery. But if you're going longer than that, you're going to need a constant power supply. And a lot of the cameras, you can't plug them in via USB and have them charged. Some of them out there you can. I think the Sonys might be able to plug in via USB. What kind of camera do you have, Drew? I'm not sure if I've seen what you use in your live streams. PJ has a Sony camcorder that he's using. And have you checked that connected up to the TV to see if it has a live output, PJ? Because you want to make sure that the screen is clear, and then once you do connect it to a computer, then you'll find out, what the quality is and if it'll actually work with the interface on the computer. We have this guy right here. This is a Elgato, Elgato Gaming. Let me switch this.
You want me to zoom in on you again? Oh,
so, Elgato Gaming is who I have most of my gear from, just because I know it works.
Elgato?
This was also from Elgato. So this guy here is actually inside my desktop computer, which we are using now. I actually have two of these in there so I can run more sources. This is what I had my laptop connected to and the scanner connected to during our last video. This one right here is connected to one of my Panasonic Lumix cameras, and the other one I have is a little cheaper than that, and it's called the Elgato CamLink. The only thing it can do is plug into a camera, but it is a little bit limited on some of the settings. That doesn't always work correctly. Yes, everything is run in Windows. So I just have all the inputs plugged into different interfaces, and then I control everything with the Streamlabs OBS software. So let me pull that back up so you guys can see. Everything is controlled in this software. So I control my audio inputs and volumes, my camera that is currently being displayed, and a lot of the stream settings as well. So for you guys getting started, PJ wants to do a live stream showing how to set up the Picoscope, but he also wants the underhood capture. If you use your work laptop and that works out for you, you can use the webcam as one input. Right now we're using just a USB webcam that we got several years ago for around $60. The quality isn't great, but it is usable for the video, because what you're really wanting to share is the resolution of the screen. You're going to be very small in the corner, so the webcam quality doesn't matter much. And then we can see right here, display capture. This wouldn't work on my laptop the other day. I'm not sure why. I just had a black screen, but it works fine on the desktop. So we are capturing whatever's shown on the screen. So if you have login information or other windows open, people can see that. So you have to watch what you're showing there. I was sharing some of my YouTube stuff earlier, which I would never do on an actual public live stream. But for an unlisted stream, it's not too big of a deal. And then, so if you already have a laptop that can run the software with a webcam built in, if you already have a camera with an HDMI output, then one of these interfaces is about $150. You can find them used on Craigslist from video gamers that wanted to do live streaming and then now they're broke and they don't have any money. I see them on Marketplace for under $100. I never buy them because I would rather have the warranty and the customer support if I have any issues. So I spend the extra little bit at Best Buy and get the extra warranty. But at least, if you bought a used one, you could bring a laptop with you and your camera, plug it in, see if it works. But you might be at somebody's house for half an hour or 45 minutes getting the software set up. So HDMI cable connected to your camera. You also have to make sure that your camera doesn't shut off after a certain amount of time. My camera normally will go to sleep, but whenever I have a cable plugged into that port, it ignores all the rules and it doesn't go to sleep. It'll just stay on live view mode. I have all the extra stuff turned off. So if we go to this camera, I keep getting, that camera's dead. Yeah. That one was running on a battery and we're an hour and 45 minutes in, so it probably shut off. But this one's connected to constant power. As you can see around the perimeter here, wherever, there's no icons. Even if I go push buttons on the camera, the icons aren't going to show up. And that camera will stay on indefinitely. I've never had overheating issues working in the shop. Some cameras will overheat and shut off. Yeah, it's PJ's fault that the camera died. He took too long. Another thing that would be the basics of your setup. So Picoscope connected to your laptop if you were wanting to demonstrate the Picoscope software. The webcam is one input. Your video camera set to another one. Now, another option that you could do.
You keep looking over
I keep
here.
looking at the other camera. Let me grab this cable. And I wasn't even thinking about this when I talked to you on the phone the other day, PJ. This is a active USB extension cable. Normally you can't run a USB longer than, longer than like 10 feet before you get interference, or 20 feet or something. This is a 25-foot USB cable, as I hit you in the face with it. And it has, it's an extender, so it has active electronics in here that allows it to be extended longer than normal. I think this cable was like $25 or $30, and it is USB 3.0. What you could do is you could buy just a basic web camera for under $100 that does good quality video, and plug it in with this and show that underneath the hood of the vehicle. The problem with the web cameras, they're not great in low light, so you need to make sure that you have supplemental lighting. But that honestly would probably be the cheapest way, because $25 cable, you could probably get a fair quality webcam for $50 and be set up with 2 camera sources if your laptop has a built-in camera. So that would be the cheapest way to get into it. The other way, if your current camera can connect to it, buy the interface for $150 and get set up that way. You also are going to need a really long HDMI cable. I got mine on Amazon because ones from even Walmart, they want like $50, and I think I got a 2-pack of 20-foot cables on Amazon for $20 or something. And then since this other camera shut off, this is a HDMI adapter. So some cameras have that small little plug-in, some have a medium-sized plug-in, and very rarely will they have the full-size HDMI cable. I got these on Amazon as well. I have 2 of them. I think they were like $10 a piece. So all that stuff does slowly add up to the price. I've started with one interface and then I added another one and another one. But a cable, extension cable, and so you may want one of these T's if it has the medium-sized one. Just the problem with one of my cameras is I have to run this out the top because of the orientation of the plug-in, which makes it a little inconvenient. So if you buy an extension cable, you may find one that has the medium size on one end and a full size on the other. Or if they make a straight through adapter that doesn't tee off like this and just has the medium size on one end and the large on the other, that'd work best. For my Lumix, this one works fine because it routes the cable straight down, and then I can plug the HDMI at the bottom.
Read your chat. Last two comments.
That's what I was referring to.
Oh, I didn't even see you look down there when they popped up.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, when he said the medium size one, I saw that one.
Oh, gotcha.
But extension cable and a couple of webcams would be honestly the cheapest way to get you going. And then it's probably even less load for the computer to process it all, because it does take a little bit more resources to convert the video through one of the interfaces. The computer I'm using now has like an i7 processor. It's a gaming computer, and I'm running 4 capture cards, and it does perfectly fine. We're running 2 displays. As you can see the setup here, we have 2 displays up on the screen. We have the webcam up there. We had 4 other sources, which was the scanner, my laptop, and 2 cameras. I also have an audio interface sitting over here. A lot of this stuff is unnecessary for a basic live stream, but I like to overcomplicate everything, so I have it all. And this computer runs it completely fine. I'm just going to pull my resources up here. So we're only using 6 gigs of memory and 27% of my CPU right now. But I am running, they have an option in there if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, which most of the gaming computers have, then that can share the load of the processing. Let me share with you the setup on YouTube, because that's kind of confusing for when you first start using the software. So I'm going to shut off this input here. So this is on the YouTube side of it. You'll open up YouTube, you'll click the button you normally use to add a video, and there'll be a go live button. Don't worry about clicking that button. You're not instantly going to go live. I was afraid to push that button. I'm animating with my hands again, and you guys can't see me. But don't be afraid to push that button. All it does is bring you to this window, and you can change settings. You can get the whole stream set up, especially right here. Like I have this unlisted. I just gave it a title. I don't even have a description. And then I hit save, and then it tells you if you have a connection. If you don't have a connection, it'll tell you that connect your software encoder, which it means open up Streamlabs, and this would be a button that says go live. By default, when you click this button, a screen pops up that wants you to enter in a title and a description. If you use that feature, it will make your video go live instantly and be public. So I don't use that. I went into the settings and turned that off. There's also a button in there that says don't ever show this again. We found that out just, I think, yesterday morning. Because I kept wondering, because I had it set to private, and I went into here and I clicked on the start stream button, and it instantly went public and live, and I wasn't ready for that. But it will then pop up on this screen, and it'll show what you're ready to stream, but you're still not live. So at that point, I check this again, make sure that I'm unlisted so you can test stuff out, and there'll be a button up here that says go live. And then once you click on that, then you're actually live and broadcasting. So we can go full screen here. And then in that browser window is where you're going to see the chat. Valerie was running it on her phone as well, which is a good thing, because an hour into our stream last night, the chat quit working on the web browser. I think we could have closed it out and opened it back up and still been streaming fine, and it probably would have refreshed it. But since she had her phone out, she just started reading it on her phone. Yep, I was giving all the details for PJ, and he shows up late to the party. But you're getting the condensed version because we already had a practice run at this whole thing. So now you're getting the just the little bits you need. So I think that would be the basic setup. Plus, we didn't even think about the extra webcam earlier. I think that would be the easiest way to go. Is if I was using my laptop, I could just grab this webcam with that extender, 2 video sources, boom, done. Under $100 of extra cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it shows up faster on the phone. Right now, that Drew's comment that just came up on my screen came up instantly on Valerie's phone and in the chat. What else? I think that was the condensed version. Did I miss anything?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Um,
I mean, if he has any questions.
yeah, if since Drew and PJ just joined in, if you have any questions, let me know now. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up because we still have to tear down this whole setup.
Just push it to the side.
I thought you needed the computer tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
I'll
just use your laptop.
That could work. I really don't want to have to tear down this whole setup.
You have to though.
Yeah. The laptop's the simplest way. We're going to, if we continue to do live streams and have good interaction, then we will be building a dedicated cart. And once I can afford it, I'm going to get another computer tower, either for here or for at home, so I don't have to unhook anything. But that'll be a while. More than likely, I'll get this set up with a couple of spare monitors, and I'll just swap in, take the desktop from home, bring it down here, plug it in, because I don't know, it gets really expensive. And the YouTube ad revenue does not cover it. Oh, real quick, PJ. I don't know if anything has changed, but I know that you're over 1,000 subscribers, but you are lacking on the watch time.
Long walk home for you.
Yeah, talking about buying a new computer. We were just talking about remodeling a bedroom in our house.
I'd rather have the bedroom than a computer. I'll help you tear it down. I want a new bedroom.
Okay. That's the opposite of what I had on my channel. I had the watch time long before I had the subscribers, but my original content was just repair only, and I didn't do any diagnostic work. I think the diagnostic work, you get subscribers and you get other technicians watching you. The repair stuff, you get everyone out there that's trying to fix their car. They don't want to diagnose it. They just want to know what's wrong right now without going through the process, and then they want to know how to change it. So my videos got a lot of watch time for that, but the live streams are going to help you out tremendously because you do get a big boost of watch time. I'll drag my YouTube window over here in a second. Sorry, I'm trying to read around a microphone. So let me change to my desktop. That'll work good enough. So if I go to watch time and look at my watch time chart, you see how I kind of follow this little average here. This was from my live videos last weekend, and I got a huge bump of watch time, and then it kind of trickled off through the week. And then my live stream from last night, I got a huge bump of watch time as well. So if I go to that particular video, which your live streams are going to be listed under a different tab. Normally you have your uploads right here, live streams will be under a different tab. If I click on, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
your screen. We're just connected to the dead camera still. That's okay though. You can get the
Oh.
gist of it.
So on this one here, let me click on the analytics. We had 6,000 minutes of watch time since last night. So in 24 hours, 6,000 minutes of watch time. The reason we're getting such a big jump of watch time is, we had at least 20 people watching the video live the whole time. The video was over an hour long, so that's 20 hours of watch time. And then there's other people jumping in and out the whole time. I think it says down here my average watch time was 20 minutes. And we have 373 views. So we do have a tremendous jump in your watch time, which is going to help you get to that level where you can add ads to your channel. So that is going to benefit you if you can get a decent live stream following. I think that if you're doing like Picoscope tutorials, you shouldn't. Oh, I need to switch that. I was on the wrong input. I was on the dead camera again. But if you're doing Picoscope tutorial videos, I know that you're not going to get the biggest audience of the Toyota Techs, but all of us will be in there as well. And I think if we ask questions, even though we may know the answer or we may not know the answer, maybe something we haven't seen before, but if we prompt you for, how do you do this, then you show that, then it's going to boost the interest of the people in the chat, and it's going to not only keep you busy with stuff to do, it'll show you some stuff that you may not have thought about showing in that video. So just whenever you do decide to go live, and you can do some test runs with us as well, and just post it up in the group, and we'll go in there and you can test out your setup. I even considered I said this earlier, I considered making a second account just for testing the live stream stuff. But then it's kind of a pain because you have to log into a whole different setup each time. You have to close everything out and then come back in and log into your regular setup. So if you are going to test that out, I can't even see the comments right now.
They're on my screen.
Okay. So that's one of the options. So once you do test it out, PJ, you can test all this stuff out in the Streamlabs software before you ever go live. You can use the Streamlabs software to even just do desktop recording with picture-in-picture. See you later, Drew. It is getting late. Well, it's not late. It's only 8 o'clock in California. It's almost 11 for PJ. Yeah, no problem. Talk to you later. So just let us know, PJ, whenever that happens, and we'll verify that you don't have any major issues. And then once we go live again, I'll try to have everything set up and advertise that live beforehand. And I think we'll have a bigger group. Although if we get too big in the live streams, then it's really going to clutter up the chat. I think there's a limit of what you can actively read in the chat rooms before it gets too big. I think any more than, I would say, 50 active participants, which would probably be 150 viewers, would make it difficult for us to. Is that mine? Water? Oh, I didn't know if you had two. Couldn't find it. Any more than 150 viewers at one time could get a little busy in the chat. But I think it'll still be fun. It'll just be more work for Valerie to read it to me.
I'm already a slow reader, so you picked the wrong person to read your comments. Are you gonna drink it or no? You just
yes.
took it. Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna pack it up. And one thing I think we didn't know the procedure for doing it last time is I believe you have to end the stream over here in Streamlabs first.
That was my fault.
We tried ending the stream in the YouTube window first, and it locked up the window. But then again, we lost the chat already anyway, so it could have just been locked up. And what you can do also is you could leave the stream running. a lot of the video gamers do that. If like say that you're in the middle of a diagnostic process and it's a really long video, and I may add some of this stuff into ours. I may add a scene for the stream is starting soon to let people get time to join before we go live. So I'm not stalling at the beginning waiting for the audience to show up.
Yeah.
Just I'll start that 5 minutes before we're supposed to get started. People can start trickling in, and then once the time to get started is ready, we'll switch over to live view, do the introduction of what we're doing, and go from there. And then you can have a lot of people, especially the gamers that are gaming for 8 hours straight, they'll have one that says like be right back whenever you got to answer your phone or get to the door or go to the bathroom or get some food. Just something to put up on the screen so people know that you're coming back, and not just a blank screen with nothing going on. And then thanks for watching the stream is probably one that I'll put up at the end, and we'll switch over to that and let that roll out, because there's still people in the audience that are chatting after the stream, so I can leave that up for say 5 minutes while we kind of wind down and get ready, and then we'll shut the stream off.
Gee, she scared me.
Once we shut the stream down, when I click this end stream, it'll shut it down. YouTube will let me know that the broadcast has ended. I'm not sure. I might be able to click end stream in the YouTube window and be just fine. I think our browser was just kind of locked up last time. So I think that's it. We're going to shut down and get packed up, and I'll see you guys in the chat. PJ, I think I covered like 90% of what we did earlier in a much more condensed format, but if you wanted to watch the other part of it, you can. A lot of it was just chit chat and showing the all the different audio interfaces that I have set up. So I will see you guys later, and hopefully we end the stream properly this time.